those magnificent men in their flying machines. They go up to the up, up, they go down to the up, down.
Okay, here we are yet again. So I just thought it quick, that's sort of like the tailplane, the actual structure complete. And I've managed, again with this kit, they actually give you the right bar inside, so you drill the holes either side, you line it up with the plan obviously, to make sure it's straight through, and then obviously Dremel out the groove there, or use the back of a drill, either way, whatever you've got really, and then glue it in and use epoxy, 5-minute epoxy resin, which I've done. Obviously it'll take a bit longer in here because it's the temperature's quite low. So but it's there and it's done, it's not, and obviously pin it flat to the plan, make sure it's all level, and which it is, see, look at that. See, so it's nice and level. So what's remains to do that now is sand it to shape, mark out where the hinges go, put the hinges in, and obviously angle the back of it here, so you've got a nice with the elevators. Right, so that's that bit. Right, so we'll come back on. Right. And obviously the tail, the fin and the rudder are more or less exactly the same sort of build as you do with the as they call it, stabilizer. Right, so anyway, just follow the plan again. Right, but the thing I forgot to mention is with this, because it's numbered, what I tend to do is I'll show you. See here now, what I've done is I've like looked for each section you do on the plane. I don't do this because I think it helps. You find the pieces that match the number, so you write down all the numbers that are required on that piece. Like I've done with the rear fuse sides, which is these. Well, I'll come to that in a minute. And once you've got them all, you find them all and tick them off, so you know then basically everything should be there. Because even with this kit, there was one bill or two pieces missing, which you have to form yourself. But luckily for me, I've actually found them all, which is pretty good. Okay, if that makes sense. It just helps you, like. And then obviously, before you glue anything, you piece it all together like a jigsaw. Make sure everything's in the right place, it all fits, it doesn't need fettled, like a bit of sand in here and on these, you know, sometimes it needs it. Okay, because when you pop them out of the, when you pop them out of the mixings, you know, like even though they're laser cuts, when they pop out, sometimes you need to sand them and that to get off the snots, as they call it, I suppose, and off rough bits. Then you'll find that it all fits a lot easier. So that's the tailplane, rudder and fin. Okay, and obviously yes, I've used PVA. You can use, I suppose you can use the dark blue, you know. But I'm using PVA on this because it's only 10-minute stuff. Right, so onto the rear fuse again. You look for your corresponding numbers, because like for example this one here, 122. But I looked for ages through the whole box set looking for the number, and it turns out that 122 don't exist. It's just the offcuts of 120 and 121, which is obviously these, see? And that's what you got to use for your inserts. Okay, and now this bit, I mean there is instructions, so read the instructions, it's a must. Okay, and so because you do kind of little clicks. So with this, obviously, normally like in previous videos, I would make this both sides mirror form, put a piece of cling film over the top so that you've got exactly the same. But with this case, I've noticed with this kit you have to put this former in, and it's just as well you do mention it, because even if you line it all up, this former is quite tight. So that goes in. You put that former in first, you pin it all out like you've done. These don't come, you just pin the top and bottom longer runs in. Okay, and then you put your former in, white glue it in, leave it set, and then you can play with the actual uprights, right, which I've done. So they're all white glued in now. Okay, this little piece here, right, this is just the support, I suppose, strengthening bit. But obviously that's glued flat to the plan. But when you do the other side, it's got to leave it until last, because obviously you've got to make this as mirror plan as possible. You know, it's got to be exactly the same. Okay, so that's really sort of self-explanatory. There's obviously little bits in here that come in afterwards. And like, if you look on here, you see 127, right, which is obviously sanded to shape, so it makes sure they stick. Okay, you do all that last once you've done both of these sides. It's quite important. And don't put them sides in either 124 and that, because 124, I believe, is this here. This is the strengthening bit for when you put your rods through. Because obviously you try and bend the fuse there, it ain't going to be easy. Alright, so leave them last. That's more or less that bit. So that's all coming on now. What else in there? So obviously, because with 10-minute glue, you have to have patience, and I don't have much patience. I'm terrible. But once they're nice and dry, then you put your inserts in there. Okay. And then what I tend to do is I put strengthening gussets on here, right, the plates, just so it's strengthened after you've put it all together, like top parts here. Okay, but I'll come to that another day. Alright, now the former, again, this former, when it comes out of the kit, it comes out in 2 halves. So what I've decided to do is I'm going to glue them in first, so that one solid, checked with the plan, so it's definitely glued together. Okay, so I've decided to do it that way. So when I do glue this in to the actual one side of the fuse, you know, you've got it there. And the other way, and you must check as well, if you'll notice, with this, when you put this form, use your set square to make sure it's dead square on there. That's a must. Okay, it's on one side, and you do that, you follow that for every former you do, same with that one, when that one goes in. So it's nice and square on one side. That way you know then when you go to put it both sides together, where you know, following this plan like 106 is there, you know then you're going to get it, you've got to get it as much close to that as possible. So that's basically it. I love doing this, because this isn't, I've never built a moth before, so it's quite good fun. So obviously now that once that'll probably be driving out, I'll take that all away and do exactly with the tailplane, you know, hinge it, sand it so it's got its angles and stuff like that. Okay, so that's basically that, ladies and gentlemen. Excellent. So I would say this was video would be part 2 of the tailplane and fin, and part 1 of the fuse. Okay, so I remember that myself. Jelly. Okay then. Alright then, my feet are absolutely freezing. So there you go. Right, cheers, bye.
Those magnificent men, those magnificent men, those magnificent men in the fly.